we are looking at a policy which has deploy if not exists effect. Right? So what this means is that it will look for a resource being created or updated, and then based on that, it will create a new resource or a related resource. Right? So in this case, I am watching for a virtual machine creation or updation, and if that happens, I'll create a log analytics workspace. And the name of the log analytics workspace is central LA workspace, and resource group in which it has to be created is my RG. And you can look at this screen over here that this policy and assignment is already done, right? So I've already created this. So now let's go ahead and create a virtual machine, and you can see here that there is only a default log analytics workspace existing. So I'll go ahead and create a virtual machine now. Okay. So the virtual machine is now created. We'll go ahead and check if the workspace is created or not. And you can see that central LA workspace has been created as well, right, at the same time. So now we will go ahead and look at our code in Postman. So here we are looking at a policy which has a effect deploy if not exist. What this means is that if there is a resource which is being created, then go ahead and create a related resource as well for that resource. Okay, so now let's look at the various sections in this one. So one of the important thing is which resource you want to monitor, and that is defined in the if condition. Now here we are saying if a virtual machine resource is being deployed, right? So we are saying the type is Microsoft Compute virtual machines. If that resource is being created or updated, then look for an existence, right? So these first few parameters are going to check for if a related resource exists or not. Now in this case, the related resource that I am defining is a LA workspace, log analytics workspace. Its name is central LA workspace, and it should be in a resource group my RG. Now if the policy does not find this resource, then it has to create that resource, right? And that creation definition is provided as a ARM template against a deployment field, right? So you see a deployment field in this policy. This is nothing but a ARM template for creating a log analytics workspace. And now here you can see I'm specifying the same parameters as I had defined in the check, right? So here I'm saying the name of the workspace should be central LA workspace. The other important point here is the role definitions. Now, for the policy to be able to create this resource, it needs a suitable role. Now here I have given it a role ID of contributor, right? So we cannot specify a name here. We have to provide a role ID or a resource ID, right, for that role. So this is for the contributor role that I have given here. So now this is your role definition, right? So if you read it from end to end, it says whenever we create a virtual machine, look for particular LA workspace if it exists or not. If not, then go ahead and create it using this deployment template and using this role, right, which has been given to you. So this is our policy definition. Now in the policy assignment, what we have to specify is what type of identity, right? This is the important field here. So here we are saying the identity can be a system assigned or it can be a user assigned, right? So I'm choosing a system assigned. So what that means is when we create an assignment, it will also create a managed identity for this policy and will assign a role which was defined in a definition to this managed identity. Now, this particular link of role to identity happens only when you use it console to create it. It does not work when we create the policy and the assignment using APIs. This we have to do manually as a third step, right? And this is what I'm doing in this assigned role API call. So what I'm doing is when the assignment is completed for this policy, I pick out a principal ID that was created, and this is nothing but a managed identity which was created by this assignment. And then I'm assigning a contributor role to that managed identity. So that's the third step. Okay. So these are the three actions we have to do. One, we define a policy, and the policy will have a role associated with it. Then we create an assignment, and assignment will have a managed identity associated with it. And then finally, we assign a role to that particular managed identity.